Next up, FaZe Clan. Our Stage 1 champs are currently winless and are looking to make some magic again in the Pro League. Chance, what do you think, contender or pretender?
Pretender.
A pretender for FaZe.
It seems crazy to say. Obviously, I know they won the entire
they're
last
0-3.
season. They're awful right now. They're 0-3, and it's not like they're barely getting beat. Like, they've kind of been getting smacked around, and not even by, like, the best teams in the division, just kind of by everybody. And it's not like they're having, like one bad hardpoint rotation. It's 3 players are playing very, very poorly. Zoom is doing what he can, but none of the rest have showed up. Attach isn't here. Replays gets roasted all the time for his stats, but it's not even him. Priest is not here either. Like, you're, what, best flex player in the world? We've said at some point or considered it, and just nowhere near that conversation. You have 3 players looking terrible. Zoom is doing what he can. And it's bad enough to the point where I'm concerned, like, is there, like, roster mania, like, turmoil for this team? We know Zuma was getting poached. We know he potentially wanted to go elsewhere. We don't have those answers, but the team does, and the chemistry is just zapped. And that is what this team has needed to be successful in the past. They need the chemistry. They need the momentum. They needed Columbus, Ohio. They got it now, and they're still 0-3.
No, definitely so. It seems like something is off with FaZe. Ben, what do you think, contender or pretender?
This is the Stage 1 champs, right? And everyone knows sometimes you can have a bad week. You can have a bad week in COD. It happens. I think it's crazy to say they're a pretender. It's ridiculous. Yes, they're 0-3, and week 1 was terrible. It was abysmal. You mentioned, like, some of the player stats. Terribly. Like, they're ridiculously bad. But it's just, I don't think it's going to happen again. I really don't. You have to put some amount of faith in our reigning champs.
And just because they're the champs, though, because keep in mind,
not necessarily just
outside of 2 1v3 clutches, outside of Optic completely throwing that grand finals.
It's a win. A win is a win.
A win is a win.
I would have taken top 2 still. FaZe had a great losers run at Stage 1 playoffs.
And even then, you look at Stage 1 as a whole, FaZe played lights out throughout the regular season as well. So a deep run in playoffs isn't actually that much of a surprise. But back to the original point, I think week 2 is where they turn things around. Again, they've played some of the more. They do. They absolutely do. Again, they've played some of the more harder teams as well in the division. They have maybe a couple of lighter games coming through, which is where maybe the team chemistry does pick up and does improve. The one thing you touched on, though, which I actually do agree, and it does kind of concern me a little bit here, is the roster mania part. Has that affected the team chemistry? If it has, FaZe could be in some big, big trouble. But I think they're experienced enough and mature enough to deal with it quickly, get the job done come week 2, and ultimately try and fight back for playoffs.
Maturity aside, though, Ben, my second question is, outside of the first playoffs, where yes, they get first, yes, they did a fantastic job, when have they seen success? This entire year, when have they,
first event of the year. They start an open bracket, they finish, what, 4th? That's
4th
incredible.
is the best they can do,
okay,
and that's when they play 9 matches in a single day. Outside of that, they're getting top 12, top 12. We're talking about if they're a contender now.
So by that same logic, did they or did they not win the most important event of the year thus far?
For the most money,
did they or did they not?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, so the same argument people used last year with Optic Gaming, they've used that argument time and time again. What's more important, winning the biggest event of the year or winning everything? If I'm a player and I'm trying to cash out, I care about the big one. I'll lose all the little ones in a row if I have to, but if I'm winning the bigger events, I'm happy.
We're past that, though. We got bigger fish to fry, and the team is falling apart. The money's still on the line, and now they're not here. And more importantly, they dug themselves into too deep of a hole. They're 0-3.
0-3 is not
so
too
many
big
of
of
the
a
other
hole.
teams you've listed as contenders. You've already named 4 contenders, by the way. Now you're throwing FaZe in the mix. I don't know if you can do math, but if you got 5, you're just wrong at some point. You got
so there can't be 6 contenders in a league of 8? Of course there can.
It depends on how you want to find it.
Division A is by far the more stacked division. Of course there's more talent in this
All right, Ben. So, Ben, he goes contender. Chance, you go pretender. This was a tough one for me. I am a little bit worried for FaZe, but I think they did show a sign of life on Thursday, that last match of the day against TK. I mean, again, they ended up losing it, but it felt like things started to mix a little bit better. I'm going to give 1 point to Ben, none to Chance. I can't call them a pretender just yet. They are Stage 1 champions. They're very skillful, and as you said, they have a ton of experience, a ton of maturity. This is a team that can get through these problems.